Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And in this case, we're diving into the power of photography. That's why we're honored to have with us Jen Vogus, founder and executive director of AbleVoices. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you so much for inviting me on and being here with you and your City Current listeners.
Well, we have a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about, a lot that you do to power the good. And so let's dive in, because this starts with your personal story, and you and your husband, your son, Aidan. Give us some background on what led you to launch the organization.
Yeah, AbleVoices is a conglomeration of my personal and professional experiences. So our son, Aidan, is the oldest of our two children, and he's now 22. Hard to believe. But back when he was in kindergarten, he doesn't communicate verbally. He has a rare genetic condition that causes some physical and intellectual disabilities. And because of that, he doesn't communicate verbally. So I was just looking for a way for him to share about himself across the school day with teachers and peers. You know, I drop him off at school and I tell his teacher or aide, oh, Aidan went horseback riding or swimming or to a birthday party or to this and that. And they thought that was great. But, you know, school's a busy place, and that's kind of where those stories ended. So, you know, you try a lot of things, and some things work and some things don't. But I just started taking pictures of all those things that he enjoyed doing, and the people, the places and things that are important to him in his life, and just started printing those out. Aidan and I would write little captions on the back and send them to school. And I always say it just opened up his world. You know, other people were able to see, you know, especially the students, his peers were able to see that Aidan is more like them than he is different from them. And without those pictures, there was really no way for others to know all that he enjoyed, all that he was capable of doing. So that's where my interest in photography got started. I have an education background. I taught high school science for a number of years. I tutored for a number of years, and really got into, you know, my personality is such where it's like, okay, I always use my DSLR camera on automatic, but I was kind of like, all right, what's that button for? What's that button for? What if I, you know, do this? So then I got into photography, started taking, you know, classes and getting involved with local groups like Brentwood Photography Club and SNAP in Nashville, and started meeting others who were interested in photography as well. So, yeah, and you know, just I am a disability advocate, as well as my husband is for my son. So I just started thinking, gosh, you know, what about individuals with disabilities taking pictures to show their perspective, their own photos, to show what they think and what they feel. And so I was on the board of the ARC of Williamson County at the time, and presented this idea, this little, maybe a little class or a workshop to work with students with disabilities. And, you know, those few little workshops went really well, and I developed a curriculum called Photography for Self-Expression, and have taught that in a number of schools, a number of community organizations, such as I'm at Brightstone and Waves and Brentwood, YMCA Full Circle, but teaching individuals with disabilities, youth and adults, teaching them photography to share about themselves, whether it's their strengths or maybe their challenges, or the people and places and things that are important to them as well. So I really have Aidan to thank. You know, it was a problem that we had, and you know, the solution to that problem not only helped him, but it you know, it was the catalyst for creating this nonprofit organization that does that teaches youth and adults photography.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of so many nonprofits and organizations is, a family sees a challenge and sees a gap and says, I want to create a solution. And so next thing you know, innovation occurs and opportunities, to change lives occur. And so before we dive heavy into the organization, the programs that you've already alluded to, there is science behind this. And so talk about the Photovoice method and the method that you use.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it was, when this idea came to me, teaching others with disabilities photography, I was kind of, it was really became obsessed with it a little bit. How can we do this? What's been done before? What do I want to do differently? And so just came across this doing, Google research and research on Google, just came across this method. It's it's popular in academic for qualitative research. It's a method called Photovoice. And basically what Photovoice does, it puts cameras in the hands of individuals or groups that have a story or a problem that they want to share. And they do this visually through pictures. Real quick, the first Photovoice research project that was done was, I think back in 1993, there were two researchers from the United States that gave cameras to women in China, and they did not have access to healthcare. And they said, we want you to take pictures of what your life is like because you don't have access to healthcare. And that's what they did. And so the two researchers took those photos, that data, to the Chinese government and showed them what their citizens' lives are like because of this lack of services. And legislation passed, laws were changed, lives were changed because of these photographs. And so, it can be done, Photovoice can be done at a level like that, where you're changing the landscape for lots of people in a country, or, it can be at a grassroots level, which is what AbleVoices does. We give cameras to youth and adults with disabilities to share their story. And then not only does that give them another tool to share about themselves, empower themselves by creating something that comes from them. But then at the end of each Photography for Self-Expression project, we share those pictures in a community gallery so that the public can learn about those individuals. So it's really, our goal is twofold for the participants and for the greater community as well.
Yeah, and go ahead and dive deeper on Photography for Self-Expression, because obviously that is one of the cornerstone programs, but there's a lot to it, and including obviously the public display piece. So dive in deeper.
Yeah. So when I first started thinking about this and discovered Photovoice, I went over to London for about a week. There's an organization there called photovoice.org, and they do a comprehensive week-long training teaching you the methodology, whether it's at an academic level or a grassroots level for organizations. Created the curriculum and then came back and got a grant from the Arts Council of Williamson County to go into one of the local schools, Centennial High School here in Franklin, and do the Photography for Self-Expression project. And was just really welcomed by Williamson County schools, not only the teacher and the students, but the administration as well at the district level. And it went really well. Many of the students that took the class, they asked, what's next? And so that's when we created another program called our Photography Club. But we take for granted, all of the visual input that we have in our lives. And, most of us have taken pictures. Nowadays, it's mostly on our phone. But really just learning some simple tips on how to make your pictures better, more clear, to convey a story, to convey something about yourself. Those are the types of things that I teach. And then our community is very supportive, whether it's the community services building and the Arc of Williamson County to display our photographs, TPAC, the Frist Art Museum. We were part of an exhibit just recently there, sharing photographs from our photography club members. The Parthenon, local libraries. There have been a number of places who have been very supportive to share this work and the stories behind these individuals.
I know that you've obviously seen this firsthand, and even with your son Aidan, but talk about, and you don't have to name specific names, but talk about some of the feedback and the ways that this is really transforming lives, because I've got to believe it's confidence building, it's an identity and purpose. It's a platform, obviously, to share and communicate and build community. I think there's a lot in terms of the larger impact of what you're doing. What's been some of that feedback?
Yeah, thank you so much for recognizing that. I always say there is so much more to photography than pressing a button. One of the things I love about photography is it gets you up, it gets you moving, it gets you thinking. Unfortunately, many individuals with disabilities, when they end their school career, there's not a lot of opportunities for them afterwards. And so this helps fill that gap. But it also, where an individual might be just spending the afternoon on the couch, they can come out with AbleVoices. We might go hiking. We might learn about a historic area in the greater Nashville area. We go to a number of places, and they're thinking about what story they want to tell through their photographs. So, it's great for our bodies. It's great for our minds. There's a lot of technical skills that can be learned. We use cameras. So we provide cameras to all of the participants in the school and community organizations, as well as our photography club, if they'd like to borrow one from us. But, there are features and buttons and settings that they can learn that they just don't have opportunities to learn maybe on their phone. So a lot of these skills can transfer to other areas of life. I really encourage, we have a lot of volunteers that come on our outings, and then on our Friday sessions where we upload photos to Flickr. Flickr's one of our sponsors, very generous, provide pro accounts to all of our photographers. But really encourage those volunteers to sit down and look at the photos with these individuals and just share, just have conversations about them. Because, you may assume one thing and the individual shares with you and it could be something totally else about them. So, we have a number of photographers who have just really gotten to who love photography. I think that if they didn't have the opportunity through AbleVoices, it might not have been something they ever really thought about. We are one of our participants, one of our photographers, Nicholas, he's actually our studio assistant. And, I just saw he loves Apple computers and Macs. And it's provided him, I think, a lot of employment opportunities. It's bolstered his confidence and opened up, I think, some possibilities of what he can do in life that maybe he hadn't thought of before. And I think that's the case with a lot of our photographers as well. So we just are starting a new program. It's a work-based learning program. And so that's really a focus next for us. Not only do our photographers take photographs, they're learning to upload them to the cloud, learning to edit, learning to print, learning to create photo products, whether it's photo greeting cards or matted prints. And then we're selling those at local markets and fairs, and then local venues like Structured Hair in Franklin sells all of our photographs on their walls. So it's also an opportunity for our photographers to earn some extra money as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. touch on then how the community can get involved and support your efforts. You also have obviously the in-person and online component too. So talk about how the community can get involved.
We do, yes. So right now we are starting our virtual photography club. We've had an in-person photography club for the past several years. Right as soon as I started teaching in the schools, we had some of our photographers saying, all right, what's next? And so that was the answer that I had. But there is a need for people across the country with disabilities to come together and share their photographs and get to know each other and create friendships through that medium. So yes, we're looking for individuals out in the community to volunteer in person, so during outings. And then we also have our Friday sessions where we're sharing our photographs with community members and, like I said, printing and creating products. But we're also looking for volunteers, like a peer mentor, to be involved in our virtual programming. So ultimately, it would be wonderful for individuals ages 18 to 35 to be a peer mentor, but basically they're just participating as if they are a photographer. So they'll get to kind of learn and do all the fun stuff that we do during the virtual sessions. But they're there as an individual without a disability to kind of serve as a model for communication, social interaction, as well as just being an individual that's closer in age to our participants to be involved. So that's a couple ways that people can be involved.
We'll wrap up with where we can go for more information and take those next steps to get involved. So website, social media, where would you direct us to go?
Well, our website is just ablevoices.org. We've got, all of our programming listed there, ways people can get involved. We've got upcoming events. We're excited. We've got our second annual fundraising gala event at Andrews Cadillac in Brentwood coming up in September. I really encourage people, if you want to get to know about AbleVoices and meet our photographers and see their work and just have a great time with some awesome entertainment, to come out. And it really is a great representation of what AbleVoices stands for. People can also keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram, and then also LinkedIn, and then, of course, Flickr. Our AbleVoices page showcases a lot of our photographers' work as well. So yeah, any of those platforms, I think people would get a great idea of what we do through not only descriptions, but lots of pictures, of course, since that's what we do.
Well, once again, the website is ablevoices.org. So Jen, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. I had a great time.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.